I'm already here.
Hello, everybody out there in the internet. Welcome to Aimless Babble Z episode 245. I'm Ticketmaster, joined by.
RPG Maniac 05.
And Traptical.
So yeah, we got so much been playing. Tropical has a question, so we've got that covered, and some news because Comic Con happened, and yeah, game companies are like, oh hey, that annual time of the year when we drip feed you some PR to just keep you coming back for more because it's just taste, and that's all it takes some time, and then we'll hook you. You'll never escape, ever.
That's like how drugs work.
How do you know, RPG? Oh.
I mean, I don't know personally, but I mean, I know people who have done drugs. It's a sad world out there. It's a sad, sad world.
And dangerous.
And dangerous.
External
Stranger danger,
intrusions.
kids.
Yeah. Stranger danger.
They can externally intrude you as well. This is why you stranger danger. Yeah.
So
We also give out moral lessons now on Aimless podcast. So you're welcome.
Stranger danger is yeah, no, this week I got through The Wolf Among Us because that's also a dangerous world. That's not why I played through it. It was I finally got to episode 4. Finally got through all the parts that I had played before and then lost my hard drive, and it's like, okay, finally, new stuff, let's do it. And episode 4 and 5 seemed shorter to me. Maybe it was because stuff was going down pretty quickly, and it just like, wow, I just blew through the last two, like, oh man, it made an impression. And now I'm not sure. There was a time where I always thought, oh yeah, I like The Walking Dead better, but now
I know.
Yeah,
man.
it's like it's hard to pick a favorite. It's like, wow, they're really good.
To me, it's like they both do different things like well,
Yeah.
and I just like prefer one or the other. But like as far as like overall, I see myself sticking with Wolf Among Us like later on down just because it's not such a effing downer, man.
It's still pretty. I don't know if it's bleak. Like, I guess it's
But
less
it's not
bleak.
as like survive is your main objective like The Walking Dead.
yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
you're just going from day to day. Like the next 10 feet you could die, or the next city someone's going to die. It's like every episode someone's going to die. You're going to die. So it's like that's pretty dire. Whereas Wolf Among Us is just like, oh, I got to find the killer, and kind of sucks because we're fables and we can't reveal ourselves, and it kind of sucks to be us because we lost our homelands. But could be better, but could be worse.
Could it be
Bigby's
worse
awesome.
though? Could it be worse? I mean, half of
be
them became
worse.
prostitutes, and a bunch of people are getting murdered. I'm not sure. Getting worse is really easy at that point.
Well, as an aside to that, so after I finished it, I was like, oh, I want more, and I got the second book of the comic, and it's wow. It's weird because you look at it and you think, oh, it's they're fables, and it's sort of it's not Disney, but it has kind of that Disney feel. Like when you think about the characters, because the Disney versions are so ubiquitous, that's what you think of. But then stuff happens, and it's like, I did not expect this to be so bloody. But yeah, like, man, second book is very shocking. Especially playing the game, and the character you inhabit in the game, and some of those relationships, and once you read the second book, and I don't think they're connected, game and comic, directly anyway. Yeah, I won't say anymore.
Oh my!
I think it's like the Walking Dead, where it's just like the same universe, but it's like
I heard it
Yeah.
was like
I mean, it
canon,
takes place
though.
before, but I'm not sure if it's canon. So
Well, the game takes place before?
yeah,
Yeah, it's a prequel.
Okay. See, that does make... Yeah, actually, that does make sense. Man, the future's bleak then.
Oh.
Speaking of bleak, I picked up The Last of Us Remastered for the PS4. Primarily, I wanted to try out the multiplayer, but I guess there's some matchmaking issue going on right now, so even though I saw lots of tweets, people saying, oh yeah, loving the multiplayer, played it all weekend, blah, 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 I could not find a single game. It just sat there, searching for optimum game, for like half an hour. I was like, is it because I'm level 0 and there's just no one I'm optimally matched against? Yeah, it was not a good experience. So I went back to single player. Man, it looks really, really good. I would compare it to like, I guess like Assassin's Creed Black Flag and Watch Dogs. Clearly games that are sort of cross-generational. And so you can tell, it's like, compared to something like Infamous Second Son or Rise or Killzone or something like that, they don't look that good. So The Last of Us doesn't look that good, but it looks really good compared to the original version.
Yeah, I was watching someone stream and I was like, price drop. I was like,
Yeah, like it's hard to convey through the
blown
streams
away.
because the real difference is that frame rate and the responsiveness. Because it's difficult to describe. Like a lot of people can't even really experience frame rate, but it's just well, in some ways,
I can only tell when the frame rate is bad. That's my
Yeah, I
experience
think,
with
I
frame
think
rate.
that's how it is with most people.
see, the thing was like The Last of Us did kind of have a bad frame rate. There were parts where it would chug, and the remastered version doesn't do that most of the time. See, I've had a weird experience where I remember a lot of people did say The Last of Us was really buggy. And when I played through on PS3, I had none of those problems. But on PS4, I've been having problems with just like crazy bugs. Like some of the cutscenes, like, oh, it's like the animation rig came loose. And so instead of walking out the door, Joel just sort of glides out the door like a zombie. No, not a zombie. They have zombies. Like a statue of Joel. And another time, like I punched a guy so hard that Joel ended up inside of a roll of rope. And I'm just like, okay,
pretty hard
now I'm
punch.
stuck in here forever. Is this it? And so yeah, I finally had to quit out and restart that encounter. I
Sounds like
yeah,
a remaster to me.
I'm not sure what's going on there. It could be possibly the way that PlayStation 4 games just work, where you put it in the disc and it starts installing, and then past a certain point, you can start playing the game, but then it just continues to install in the background. And maybe because of that, it wasn't ready when I got to those
I've
parts.
never done that before. I haven't yet to experience the whole I'm playing as the game is installing.
Yeah, because when I was playing it later in the day, it was totally fine. But the first time when I just put the disc in and it really quickly installed, I was like, that couldn't have been 50 gigs in 5 minutes. And so then I started playing, and then
Oh
there
God,
was
Tropical,
just lots
50
of
gigs,
issues.
Jesus,
Yeah, that's
That is a chunk.
that's half a terabyte. No,
I
it's not.
don't.
That is. No.
Sorry.
That is half of 100 gigs.
Yes,
Nothing.
That's far more
that's
accurate.
still an effing lot of space.
That's a lot of space for
That's
a
almost
hard-
as much as the launch 60 gigabyte PlayStation 3.
That is
True.
actually. You probably wouldn't even be able to install it because you
See,
don't have that 60 gig.
I don't know what they're gonna do about this. I think this is a real issue, but not for enough people that they actually are going to do anything about it. Like, because when I'm thinking about it, so okay, the morning of launch, I was watching streams and I thought, man, I do want to see this because I know the streams are 30 frames. Can't really tell the difference, so I'm gonna go get the real one and then be able to play it. Plus, I really like that game, or I really appreciate that game, even though I actually don't really like it. it's miserable, but yeah, I started thinking, should I just get the digital version or should I get the disc version? And I went back and forth. And I mean, because either way, it's going to take up 50 gigs of my hard drive, and I took off the Destiny beta because that's over, so I have 66 gigs. So 50 gigs, I'm going to have 16 gigs again. It's like, back down to the sub 20s. But then, what made me get the physical version was like, well, if I get the physical one, then I don't have to download those 50 gigs if I ever uninstall it. I can just put the disc in, and then I get those 50 gigs back, or I get the 50 gigs of the game back. But just thinking about that, I was like, well, this is my second. No, this is my third 50 gig game. Wolfenstein installs 50 gigs. Battlefield 4 is 50 gigs on my hard drive. Last of Us is 50 gigs. And it's just like, even if I had a terabyte hard drive, I would still be running into space issues by, I don't know, really soon. I mean, how many is Drive Club going to be? 40, 30, maybe? Destiny, I know, is like 50, I think.
It's 50. Or 40.
It's just a crazy amount of space that these games are taking up now. And even with the terabyte, I think it would last me a little bit longer, but it's not that much longer. Add to that all the indie games. I have PlayStation Plus. Just there's so much stuff to play. The free-to-play things, War Thunder is 14 gigs. DC Universe Online is like 30-some. Yeah, there's just no way to deal with it. And they need...
Cool. That's why you buy a second PlayStation 4 and distribute your data across them.
But see, that's the terabyte. That's the terabyte. And I was like, what am I going to... I could buy a terabyte hard drive, but I don't think it's going to solve my issue. In a little while later, I'm going to be, back down to the sub-20s, and it's like, okay, now what?
Just buy a third PS4. Tekken already gave you the solution to this, Tropical. You're missing the point. Buy a PS4.
Two PS4s with terabytes in each of them? Yeah, maybe.
I mean, we're from a PS3, so... ...
Until you
Were
sold
you
it.
thinking about buying like a third one at one point or something?
I probably was.
Because I thought
just...
you mentioned that.
See, I think the thing that they need to do is have some sort of backup thing, like how Steam has. Because, yeah, it's ridiculous. The games are humongous. The bandwidth cap thing doesn't appear like it's going to go away just because of this, though in the future, maybe. Yeah, we need a backup solution. And unfortunately, I think right now, I'm probably in the minority. Like, I don't think most people are running out of space already. And they have... Yeah, this has always been an issue for me.
So it's like,
everything I own has, like, no storage space left. My Vita has 150 megs left. My, I guess my DS. Oh, my Wii U is probably still pretty empty, too.
Great example, Tropical.
I was just about to say that probably wasn't the best.
Most everything. Like, I think before my hard drive died on my PS3, I had 10 gigs that I had been hovering around for 6 months to a year. Constantly managing. It's like, yeah, I think I could do this. And delete that one. Say, delete that one. It's like, okay, no, now I want to play that one. Install that one back.
Well, Tropical. Maybe a solution is coming in PlayStation Now, and you can just stream the game and not even have to worry about the data.
That would be nice. I mean, well, I think I would rather the backup solution just because PlayStation Now, I think, is for different stuff. But, yeah, since there's so much stuff that they're working on, I don't think the backup solution is coming, at least not for a little while. Like, 3D Blu-ray they just came out with. They really want MP3 playback, so that's got to be coming. PlayStation Now, we'll get to that later. Yeah, just tons of things happening on the system. So, I don't know. What's
taking up all your space, though? Is it just game installs?
Maybe it's just game installs. It's like 300 some gigs of game installs. And then I think it's almost 10 gigs of video capture. So actually I can deal with that. But yeah, it's mostly game installs. And the fact that 500 gig hard drives aren't actually 500 gigs. They're actually 409 gigs. So there's 91 gigs that is just gone.
I guess that's true.
Well, we will see. Maybe I would like another PS4. That would be awesome.
Me too.
That didn't take much convincing, did it?
In fact, I might just cancel my Destiny pre-order and pre-order the Destiny PS4 bundle. I mean, why not? A white one and a black one. Ebony and Ivory. They can be pals. Yup, best friends forever.
Good job, team.
Yeah.
So I expect to see new PS4 sometime soon. Then that didn't take long. Didn't take long at all.
And then finally, the new release this week was Rogue Legacy, cross-buy across all three platforms. I'm playing it on PS4 because obviously share button, and there is so much to share. That game is hilarious. If you don't know, it is a roguelike, but it doesn't feel as punishing as some of the other ones. Like Splunky, I agree with Tekken. That one is like you never, if you're not getting it, then you feel like you're just wasting your time, and it kills you, and yeah, it's meh. But Rogue Legacy, I think it's because every time your hero dies, they leave descendants, and then you get to pick the next, like the successor, and they carry over some of the traits of the previous hero that died, and so and some of the traits are hilarious. Like some of my favorites have been, there was a, I can't remember the terms. Man, I just gotta show those screenshots. But okay, so there's people, it's like, oh, clumsy, and it's like, oh, breaks a lot of things, and so in the game to collect money, you break a lot of stuff, and I'm guessing that means that this character, when you just walk past them, they break. It's like, oh, that's cool. I don't even have to attack them. There's, I'm trying to think of some crazy ones that I saw. I can't remember what it was, but there's one where it's like, oh, this character can't see stereoscopic 3D. It's like, well, what does that mean? And the character, instead of turning, it's a side scroller, but instead of turning left to right, you see like the character is like paper thin, and it just flips the sprite back and forth because they can't see 3D.
Weird.
I don't know. I've been having a blast with that game. There's so much hilarious stuff, and it sucks. I'm blanking on it right now. Yeah, you still die pretty easily. There is. Oftentimes I'll go into another room. It's sort of structured like Castlevania or Metroid. You go into another room and just see all the obstacles in there, and I'll just be like, nope, and turn back, and then look for a different room. And that happens a lot. Because, it's crazy. Like, one of the traits that I got was gigantism, and so the character was like 4 times the size of the other characters. I was like, oh, yeah, enemies can't knock you back because you're too big. And I went in, and the first room I went into, it was as if the system picked it to be a challenge for this character. It was like low ceilings covered in spikes, and floor covered in spikes, and you have to like jump on these little platforms to get across. Like, really?
Yes.
Here's
And I'll
like
be,
roguelikes. Here you go. Here's a challenge. Random room of death. Ha ha ha. Fun times. Enjoy.
Yeah, this sounds
hilarious.
just awful. Just awful.
I don't know why I like this one so much more. I think probably because it's really funny. The sort of the upgrading system is nice, where when you die, if you unlocked new armor and weapons and stuff like that, the next hero gets those too. So you don't lose all of your progress, which I think was the case in Splunky.
I think that's how roguelikes work, isn't it?
Generally. This one, I think, a lot of roguelikes, it's like, oh, you just have to play better. And if you can't, then tough. And we're just going to perma-kill you. And Rogue Legacy is more like, I guess, Demon Souls in a way, where Demon Souls, it was sort of a brutal way. They kill you and they say, oh, see, you died. But you understand how you died, right? And why you died. So next time, just do that better.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, do that better. And Rogue
Except you
Legacy
don't.
is like, oh, you died, but at least you got money, And so with that money, you can buy upgrades. And so your next hero will be stronger. And so you are sort of leveling up over time, but you're dying a lot in the process. Like, I guess if you never died, you would never be able to level up because all of the level up stuff is at the beginning, like before you go into the castle.
Hmm.
So, it's interesting. It's very comedic, and yeah, I've taken a ton of screenshots every time I see a weird trade. Just like, what the heck does that mean? And then take a screenshot and then go in and record a little gameplay. It's like, oh, that's right. Oh, one of them was hypochondriac. It was like, you exaggerate a lot. And you go around and you start, I think 60 health is how, or 50 health is how much you start with. And you're walking around and enemies do like 12 damage or something like that. But with the hypochondriac, you get hit and it's like 4,000. Numbers
He's like, he
really
must have.
huge.
He took out my lung. My lung.
But you don't actually lose that much health. But it looks really funny. It's like, oh, 6,000 damage. So good.
Hypochondriacs are fun.
Yes, that's a great game. Looking forward. I pre-ordered 3 of the 4 PlayStation Play games for the summer promotion.
Why don't you just
The only one I'm not sure about is Swapper. I've heard it's really good, but I don't know if it's something that... yeah, I'm not sure yet. I think it's also the most expensive out of the 4.
Yeah, I didn't.
But counters... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say I didn't pick up Rogue Legacy or the Swapper because I already have them on, or I already have the Swapper on Steam and Rogue Legacy is a roguelike, so I was like, F that. But then I wasn't even thinking about the whole, using the share button as an added value proposition, as you mentioned. So I was like, well, now that I can just do it a lot easier than on PC, even though I can still do it. I don't know, maybe. We'll see.
That's what we need. More tick and spam.
But there's some PlayStation Now stuff about to happen, and that might preoccupy my time. And not to mention Mass Effect 3 stuff, so whatever.
Oh, I wonder if... Well, I guess I can't talk about it till tomorrow. But, yeah, look... what was the other one? Counter Spy. That looks really good now, so... Obviously. And then Hohokum. Been getting a lot of press and looks relaxing, and I liked Loco Roco back in the day. So, yeah. Let's do this. Briefly dabbled in Paper Mario Sticker Star. That's a pretty charming game, so picked it up for cheap today. And
Most of the
then
Paper Marios are.
It's weird. I don't think I've ever played any of them. I don't think
What? Get out right now. just get out, Tropical. No more out of you for the rest of the podcast. Get out. Just get out.
But yeah, I went to a game developers summit a few weeks ago, and it really, man, like if you get the chance and you're interested in making games, you should and you sort of know a little bit about it, you should go to those. You need to know a little, otherwise they're really boring. But go to them, and what I get most out of these is inspiration. Not stealing people's ideas, but it's like, oh, motivation is the better term. It's like, oh, seeing all these people making this cool stuff, it's like, now I want to make cool stuff. And yeah, so I came back and pretty quickly made something totally playable now. It's like, oh, cool. Obviously, it is a space shooter, because everyone makes a space shooter as their first thing, apparently, is how it is.
Is that what that is?
I don't
Kinda
know.
like how
There's like a
everyone's first
ton of
book is
space
about them
shooters
being-
out there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that just might be more, I don't know, coincidence than anything. Because, I mean, yeah, there are a ton of space shooters, but there's also a ton of World War II shooters and a ton of racing stuff. There's a ton of everything. Tropical.
There's a ton of space shooters in sort of like the indie beginner level
Oh, yeah.
arena, and I, from experience, I think it's because it's really easy. But yeah, so I made that as like, now I feel like like we talk about that on the podcast a lot, where there is more room for innovation in every genre, and I think the space shooter, like you don't have to make the generic space shooter that every beginner has made, and so now it's working on, okay, how do you make this better than those? Oh, and the awesome part is I got it working on Vita, so I have a Vita game running right now. It is awesome. I've
It's
played that a
awesome.
lot, mostly for testing. No, the game is actually not that awesome yet, but it is cool that it runs on the Vita. When I first got it running, I was like, "Oh man, this is so cool!" Like a week ago, I just started making this thing, and now it's running on Vita. And
I kind of want to see this game.
yeah, it was neat.
You say that now. Mm.
Would
So that's what I've been playing.
you like to go next, RPG, since you've only been
Sure,
playing
I'm only playing
one?
one thing. Yes. But yeah, I've just been playing Soul Sacrifice Delta. I've mostly been playing like online stuff. I only started like the second Grim chapter story thing, so haven't really been doing much story stuff. I was just going online collecting spells and all that jazz and everything. And I forgot to mention like they like improved like the AI and stuff in the game as well. So now like your computer characters aren't complete morons like they were in the first one. And
Yay!
yeah, 'cause there's some times where we'd be like in the middle of like a battle and one of them would just do something that just seems really counterintuitive and it's like what are you doing right now? What are you you're not helping. You're not helping at all. So thankfully they've changed that for the and they I think they also changed the AI for some of the monsters too because some of them don't just like blindly rush all over the place anymore. So there is that as well. And I also found out what that rite of transmutation thing does. Apparently, once your arm levels up to any combination of the 100 thingy or whatever, you can start it over like that prestige thing. I think like in Call of Duty, and it gives you like this little emblem thing that you can attach sigils to. So it gives you like a super boost, and you can continually do this and like overpower your character. Because I've seen some people with like high numbers next to their levels and stuff, and then we were like going through the Alice dungeon or whatever, and they were just like murdering these archfiends like they were just grunts, and I was like I literally didn't even get a chance to like see the monsters before it's like, oh, they're dead. It's like, oh
Wow.
well, that was quick. So yeah, that's a thing, although they did end up having trouble on higher floors though, so it doesn't make you invincible, but it does make you pretty damn powerful. So, yeah, that was a thing. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing though. So,
All right. Well, I will start off with the game that we played last week after the podcast, Destiny. Woo! So uh,
I heard that game was awful.
It's kind of crazy. Like I'm seeing more and more talk that Destiny was awful.
what?
It's crazy. I know.
Whatever. Whatever.
They could just be mad because the beta's over and they're like, you know what? Screw you. This game is
Well,
terrible. Don't
it's weird. Like I've been reading so many people saying that they took the exact opposite trajectory of me. They were super pumped, and then they played the alpha, and they're like, "Oh, this is gonna be mediocre." And then they played the beta. I was like, "Yeah, the story's gonna suck. It's gonna be really short, sucky game."
Wow.
I was just like, "Really?"
It's funny because I actually had cooled down a bit on Destiny before the beta, and then once I played it, I was like, "Oh, okay, I can do." Because then I pre-ordered
Yeah, I
or
was not interested
was
really
thing. So
until, the only reason I was kind of maybe excited was Tekken kept talking about it, and then then the alpha, and I was like, oh, that was okay. But then the beta, I was like, oh man, I get it now. I get it. And
So I mean, I
then,
kind of like it because it has like it kind of gives me like those Borderlands slash Mass Effect kind of feel thingies, and I was like, oh, I
mm,
can see myself playing this or whatever. So I don't know, But I don't know. Some people
Note
just.
to people out there on PS3, the voice chat is not as awesome on
Oh yeah, they
PS3.
they were complaining about everything the entire time we were playing. It's like, well, this is better on the PS4. Oh well, the lighting's better in here. It's like, oh my god, we get it. The PS4 is awesome. Okay, jeez. It's not my fault. I don't have a PS4 either. It's like they just
Usually yeah,
about it.
before just looking at the visuals, I was like, oh, this is perfectly fine. If you don't have a PS4, play this on PS3. It looks amazing. But then the voice chat thing, I like it so much that after hearing it on PS3, it's like, man, like they process it, but it's just sort of the same echo sound everywhere.
It's
You're like,
ridiculous.
oh,
If you two love your PS4 so much, go and marry the damn thing. It's like, oh my god, they're just like, well, it doesn't look as crisp as it does on the PS4. The voice isn't processed like it is on PS4. Oh, the shadow isn't perfectly in tune like this on the. It's like, oh my god, shut up! Just shut the hell up and enjoy
come
the
on,
damn.
it wasn't that much.
It really was.
I
I
was
wish we
all
had a
about the voice
recording.
chat.
I wish we had a recording because it really was that bad. I don't think.
Well,
you
on
understand.
PS4, it would have been sure. But
See, this is what I'm talking about. God. Oh my god.
Yeah. I guess I don't have anything to add about after that. But yeah, Disney still can't wait. Doesn't look as bad as I was expecting it to be on PS3. So yeah, like Chadwick said, it's good, but it's no PS4 version. So
Oh my god.
if you're stuck with that, I guess. But
did you get to
upgrade.
play the moon mission?
No, I didn't because I was at a family
Ah.
reunion, so I didn't see the moon. So I was like, but it's just one more thing I can experience in the full version that I finally have something to look forward to in the full version that I didn't get to do in the beta. So yeah.
That's true.
So yeah,
Oh,
besides
sorry. Can I add to that real quick?
yeah,
The Crucible scoring system, like I didn't understand it at first. I was playing the Crucible basically like I would play Call of Duty Domination, which is run in, don't care how many guys are there. Maybe I'll be able to kill them before they kill me, but it doesn't matter because we're about capturing points. You can't play Control like that because, and I didn't notice this until later, is like the team score is just the sum of all the individual scores. And that's why I had that feeling where I was like, oh, it seems like everyone's contribution to the team matters more in this game. I don't know why, but it does. And that's why it does. And so, you could see potentially you don't even need to capture the points. Like, if your team was that good, you could just stand around and just keep killing the other team and just get your points that way. The advantage of getting the points, though, is one, for example, like if a bunch of people capture a point at the same time, everyone gets that 75 points for capturing that point. So suddenly your team has whatever 6 times 75 is, and I can't do it that quickly. And then, once you have capture points, every kill that you make, there's a multiplier. So you have 2 points, then it's a 2 times multiplier for your kill. And, so like points add up faster if you have the control points. But the thing is, I just found it really clever. It's like, oh, this is really neat because, there are lots of games out there with domination type game modes, but I don't think any of them are scored in this way. For example, like Call of Duty's is just if you control the points, if you control the control points, your points go up, right?
yep.
And that's pretty much it. So, my suicidal way of playing in Call of Duty works just fine because I need to capture the points, and that's pretty much it. In Battlefield, I think it's the more points you have, like the more quickly you deplete the number of tickets on the other side. And so, it's sort of it's like a stock battle basically. And yeah, just like the way that Destiny does it is like, well, it matters a lot. Like you can't just see someone else capturing a point and think, oh, it's fine, they're capturing the point, I'll just go do something else. It's like if you go and capture the point with them, you give your team a lot more points more quickly. And then so it, in a way, it's sort of, once you understand the scoring system, it really makes everyone on the team work together. And it's like, huh, that's kind of weird and clever. And so I was like, I'm curious to see how the other PvP modes are going to be in Destiny. All right, I'm done.
I don't think I have anything to add. Oh, okay. So like one last thing on this news, just like because I was okay. It's weird because like I knew I was gonna get at least one limited edition on this game, but then after I saw like the Ghost edition, I was like, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. It's like it seems like I have like ever since the Grand Theft Auto deposit box thing, it's like I haven't got a super crazy out there special edition for a game. So I think I'm just like I'm not going to do that anymore because it's just not worth it. Because like Ghost Edition for this game is like $150 for some little action, well not action, like the little ghost figure that talks to you and lights up. It's like beyond that,
Toy.
yeah, it's like why would I pay $150 for some little figure thing? And I was like, you know what, F it, I'm not gonna buy it. So it's like at first I was like, well, I'll just switch my pre-order to the Ghost Edition, but then I was like, actually, the digital edition is like cheaper, so it makes more sense financially, and you get all this stuff anyway. And I don't have to worry about putting the disc in and taking it out all the time, so I'll just have it on the hard drive all the time. So yeah, but now it's weird because like I'm going to cancel my pre-order and like put it on something else, and I'm like, well, I could put it on Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition, but that's like a month before Destiny. I probably won't play through it because of Mass Effect 3, so it kind of doesn't make sense to have like a game there just waiting in the wings. And I was like, well, I could move to something else, but then I'm like, well, I already have Far Cry for November and something else I'm sure for October, so I'm like, I don't know, we'll see.
October sucks.
Or October, November, it's pretty crowded, so, but November, I'm pretty sure it's Far Cry, and then October, I'm not sure. And then I'm like, that's not so much on Dragon Age, because it's just like, fantasy, a little tired, burnt out on it.
Plus, it's November now.
Oh yeah, that too. But
That's what it did.
so I was thinking maybe Alien Isolation, but probably not. So I'm thinking also maybe either Drive Club or Project Cars, but we'll see. So I'm still kind of up in the air on like what I'm gonna change my pre-order to that I'm canceling Destiny for. So I'll feel really bad if I like cancel my pre-order at GameStop and like I don't move anything because like I've never done that before. And I don't know how my GameStop people would react to me. They're like, no, take it.
What?
So it's just like, it's like
You got me a -1 on my scorecard
It's true.
for the
Although some of
day.
them, it almost seems like you kind of like break their heart sometimes because like during times where I used to do my mass cancellation from all my thousands of pre-orders or whatever, they almost seem like heartbroken. Like, oh, so
Because
you don't want them
you
anymore?
get graded basically.
Oh, is that? Oh,
Yeah,
then
it's like
I screwed up a lot of people's days then. So.
You go in and you're supposed to say, okay, how many Game Informer things are you going to get, and how many pre-orders are you going to get, and you sort of some stores like they set a standard, and then you try to do that, and most people like you don't really try, you just sort of do it naturally, or some of the the ones that people complain about are the people who are really trying. And so if someone comes in and just like through no fault of your own, all of those count as negative pre-orders. So suddenly it's like, oh, I had 2. And it's like RPG comes in, it's like, oh, now I have -6. I have 11 to get in the next 3 hours.
wow.
It's like, sorry. That's kind of funny.
I guess there's always Arkham Knight because it's next year. I have no idea when, but I will definitely be getting it anyway. But then it's like, well, I probably will just get the. That's the one game that's like every time I've been screwed on the collector's edition, it's like I want to get it, and then it's like, oh, it's sold out. It's like what? It's like it was just announced. It's like you know what? I'm just gonna let it go this time. It's like whatever. I'm just might just get the normal edition and be like whatever. I just want the DLC crap. That's like for challenge streams anyway, so it's like I need the physical junk. I'm over physical junk now. It's like PS4 is the era of digital. It's just like I don't even care
physical junk.
about these stupid little figurines or your armament book or your little calendar or your fold out map and blah 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 blah. It's like I just want to play the game. I just want to play the game, crack out and just like be over it and just yeah.
Yeah.
So
I still need to finish Arkham City before that comes out. One of these days. But
yeah. Besides that. So yeah, after the Destiny beta ended, I was like, well, what am I going to play next? And I just looked at my little menu and all the games on my PS4, and I was like, oh, don't really play Mass Effect or Gran Turismo today, so I'll just gorge myself out on PlayStation 4 content, and that's what I did. So I started with Lego Marvel. I gotta say, that game looks really good. I haven't played on any other console, but I enjoyed what I played of the PS4 version. Really fun, really good looking. Like the load times are just really good too, because it's like, yeah, and it's the digital version, by the way. So I'm not sure if that like has anything to do with it, but
Yeah.
really good, fun story, fun stuff going down, and yeah, I'm glad I bought it for like $8. It's totally worth it. And
Physical disc for the win.
so far, I'm enjoying it very much. Only mutant so far is Wolverine though, so I'm kind of like, where are the X-Men? But yeah, we'll see.
Oh, who owns the? I
It's
mean, who
Marvel.
made
They have the
that?
rights to them in the game, so I
Oh,
mean that
okay.
Magneto showed up in Sabretooth and Mystique, so I'm sure they're in there somewhere. They're just not at the beginning. It's like front loaded with Avenger stuff, and I'm kind
Well,
of
that's
on the
because
Avengers. So
Wolverine has that whole being in everything thing going on for him. So, of course, he
Being
was
an
probably the first
Avenger,
one.
except in the movies.
Well, I mean, there were other Avengers that, or other mutants that were Avengers. He wasn't the only one. He just happened to be ridiculously popular for some reason. So, if they're gonna throw one in
yeah,
there,
that's why I was like,
gonna
oh,
be
of
him.
course he's the first one you see. Dot dot dot. Pff, whatever. And there's this cool part where you fight Venom, and like you use this giant Lego thing of dubstep, or like radio that like turns into like starts playing dubstep, and like the vibration is like freaks out the symbiote. And he's like, ah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm very much enjoying it, and that's kind of interesting because it kind of threw me off for
Uh,
a bit. I was like, oh yeah, they added voices to the Lego games, so that was fun. Yeah, but yeah, really enjoying it. And then the next day, I was like, oh no, did I play something else after that? I might have. Let me think here, because I think I played that, and then I either switched to something or I came back the next day and played something. But no. I played the next day. Injustice. I was like, well, Marvel was yesterday, and then today is DC. So this is like post Comic Con. I'm like, let me give me some superhero action in my life, because it's not Wednesday and I haven't bought my comics yet. So so I played Injustice. Gotta say, this like NetherRealm Studios, they are like the Telltale games of fighting games at this point, because it's like they have like their little formula they have going on for the whole cutscene seamlessly transferring into gameplay, and then it just does it for like 8 hours, or well, I guess it was like 4 hours. It wasn't 8 hours. It was like a bit less than 4 hours, but whatever. It was good enough, and
yeah,
so
Injustice was a lot shorter than Mortal Kombat.
how long is Mortal Kombat?
It was
It's
long,
quite a
maybe
few
those eight
chapters.
hours.
Well,
Yeah.
I need to play that game too. But yeah, I streamed the whole thing, so look forward to that on my other places out there in the internet. And yeah, I enjoyed the story, and I think it's cool because it's like I hope like Warner Brothers can like use this as some sort of like springboard to like have more of their characters featured besides just Batman in the Arkham series and whatever, maybe get some Green Arrow, some Batgirl going on, who knows, besides just like the top tier people, maybe some Martian Manhunter, some Zatanna, who knows, whatever, man. But it was nice to see the DC heroes used in a pretty good story video game and not have it be terrible like it usually is. So
Well, you have to wait and see who's like popular, because I mean, you can't just make a game based off of the quote unquote not top tier stuff, and then
If it's
people are
good
just gonna.
enough. Because the thing, like, Iron Man was not top tier until they
Well,
made Iron Man the movie.
I don't know, because I mean, they've at least had like Iron Man, like other media before the movie came out, so it's not like he wasn't known or anything, because he had all the
yeah,
cartoons and the series and stuff. So it wasn't like, let me think of another hero they just added. Like I can't think of one right now, but they
Ant Man,
it, who
Ant Man.
who the hell is
He's
Ant-Man?
getting a movie.
Yeah, he's in a movie soon.
Exactly. Nobody cares about him.
Oh,
Nobody cares
I'm
about
trying to,
Hank Pym.
I'm trying to think like who the hell is Ant-Man? What the? Yeah, seriously, can't for the
Guardians of
life.
the Galaxy is kind of like that too.
Yeah, they are pretty obscure.
Oh yeah.
But I heard that movie was really good though. So
Yeah, see, I think if you make it good enough,
yeah,
then
but
that's
I
enough.
mean,
Like that can.
I think that one just kind of benefited from the fact that the Marvel movies have been doing pretty well these past few years. So people are that was kind of it was kind of just riding off of that. Had they done that prior to stuff like the Avengers
Yeah.
and the other Iron Man movies and stuff, people probably would have been like, "Yeah, I don't know who these people are."
Well, I mean, it's hard to say. Like, so you think people are saying that the movie is good because they
No, I
like
meant
other
like,
Marvel
no, I meant
movies?
I'd have gone to go see it. I don't think it would have not been good. I just don't think
Oh,
I would have seen it
yeah.
much
Like,
less.
I
Like,
think
even
if it's good enough, you can get people to see. Um, Otherwise,
the,
like, where do successful original properties like come from? They gotta start somewhere.
yeah, but they started from decades ago, and now they're kind of out there. But I'm just
Well,
the point I'm trying to make is, it's like, yeah, you can make something good enough, but if it's like something obscure, it's I mean, or I guess not as popular as like say like Superman or Batman or something. It's like it's gonna be a harder sell for people to just go see it if the previous like DC movies have kind of been not great
well, yeah.
outside
It'd be
like
a harder sell, but it doesn't mean. I mean, I guess that doesn't mean anything.
it does if you want to get people to go see something or
Well,
buy.
okay, so like The Matrix, before The Matrix existed, and then it existed, and then it became a super property. So it's like it was probably a hard sell in the beginning,
Was it though?
but
Was
does
it?
it matter?
Well, it had no, because what's his face? That guy who was starring in it. He knows his name. That
Keanu
dude.
Reeves.
Yeah, him. People probably ran out to go see it because of him. And like I said, it's more based on star power for stuff like that. You even if I don't know,
Eh.
it's like with superhero movies. No, I feel like I said, with had Marvel not had the successful movies that came out before it, I don't know if Guardians of the Galaxy was made because the other movies were so successful. So they were like, we could probably get away with using a lesser known group to headline a movie and stuff. Because I don't think if they would have made this movie
But yeah,
prior
like
to
that doesn't mean that if it wasn't good enough, like I'm just saying if you make it good enough, people will play it or watch it or whatever.
Okay,
will they though?
Barbie, did
Will
you hear
they?
the announcement that they already announced a sequel for Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, I heard, but that's also because everybody was saying it's such a good movie. So
I
I
don't
think
know, because that kind of takes far away from your argument if like they already announced a sequel and like you don't even know how much money the first one's made.
well no, I'm saying it
And
like
people
had
were
a
expecting
positive
this one to
reception.
possibly bomb because it's the Guardians of the Galaxy. Is like, who the f is that?
Well,
Ugh.
that's that's the point I'm trying to make. Oh my God, you guys are killing me. Because never mind. Just never mind.
I don't know. We're talking about a completely different realm right now. I'm totally like in the gaming sphere, and you two are like talking about movies. I'm like, whatever. I'm
Well,
trying to
no,
wait
we're
for
Yeah,
just
this
talking
movie.
about we're
I'm
talking
thinking
about
like
the properties
they
in general,
could
not this
make
like
they could
oh,
make I don't know who like a Zatanna game. If it
mm,
was good enough, people would
but
play it, even though she's sort of one of the obscure characters. And then, you
that,
know, like past history, like Batman Arkham Asylum was part of a games franchise that just had a very poor history. And, you know, now look at it.
well, Batman's
Yeah, I
top
think,
tier
yeah,
hero.
I agree with Tropical. It just takes like that one that is like a masterpiece of just like, damn, that was like above everything that's came before it, and just like does its own thing, and just like, wow, that was amazing. So
Yeah, I don't feel like it's
It,
I
it,
don't it's sort of like the indie game argument. A lot of indie game makers out there are like I make better games than these multi-million dollar iPhone games and yet no one plays my game. So it must be marketing. And I don't necessarily think that's true. I think if your game is good enough and you can find people or like if your game is good enough, people will find it somehow. I don't know how it works, but that's what's going to happen. And you know, good is very subjective. Like you don't know what good is, but the good ones get discovered.
do
yeah,
they
I think that's like a really big or not a big trend, but I think like looking at the way games media is now, as far as like previews and reviews, like I completely tune out stuff that doesn't really fall into my wheelhouse. If it's like unless a lot of people just are buzzing about it all the time, and it's like okay, I'll check this out. Like Gone Home and Papers, Please. It's like people just want to shut up about it. And it's like okay, I'll check it out, whatever, and then like see what the big deal is. But until it gets to like that level in the stratosphere of oh, have you
I don't
heard
know.
about this
Stuff
show?
always
Hmm.
concerns me about that with games like that because then it's like, are people just they're all raving about it because of the hype, or is it actually a good game? Because it's like
Well, the thing is,
there's
like,
things I've
once you played
played.
enough of them, though, you can probably like tell like should I play this game or not. Like for me, Bioshock Infinite was like one of those. Oh, definitely didn't reach the standards of what I thought it was, or like Dishonored was like, oh, it was okay, but it wasn't as good as people were saying it was. So it's like it's hit or miss because like Gone Home was awesome, but Papers, Please, I get the point, but it's like it's not my type of game. So it's like sometimes you just have to be like, okay, well, I respect this game, but I do not, appreciate it as much as like the next, or I do not enjoy this game, but I will still I respect it for like what it does. So
Yeah, it's just a new divide. I think there was a time when every game that everyone raved about, quote unquote, everyone raved about, they were all basically the same because everyone was basically the same, and so that's how it was. But now it's like the variety of games is just so vast that I think there's a divide now between critics and just regular game playing people.
I don't know if you can even trust critics anymore.
yeah,
Yeah, critics, like, they all like a certain type of thing now. You look at the review scores of the past generation. It was like, I think publishers have figured out what reviewers
put in their
want,
game
and
that-
it's like if they have the skills, then they can get a good review score because they can, you have the people to make the things that people like. But it didn't last. Like, you can't make those same sort of things forever. Reviewers look at it now, it's like, oh, it's played out, and now they're just looking for weird stuff. The weird stuff is not what the majority of people seem to be looking for.
It just sounds so
So
inappropriate
true.
when you say it like that. But
because like for me, it's like even though Far Cry 4 could be like a ton similar to like Far Cry 3, I don't care because I just love that game so much. It's like whatever, dude. Like even the next Mass Effect, it's
Yeah.
like certain situations where it's like, well, I don't care what this one's like because if it falls within this boundary of what I'm expecting and it hits it, then I'm like, yay, I'm happy. As opposed to like some unknown new IP, like hard to come up with the career. It's like F that game. I don't care about some racing game across the country. Whatever, dude. Like,
But it could
but
be
for all
awesome.
I know, some people could just be raving and raving about it after it comes out of just it's the best racing game of all time. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'll check it out, and then I will either be like, oh, this was okay, or I will have one of those reactions I have. It's like, oh, this is terrible, or this is the best game ever. Or, it was alright, or it was good, whatever. That spectrum of Tekkenese of. What does the game make you feel taken in your art review? And I'm like, it was like a 30-minute TV show of cars racing explosions, dude. Yeah, whatever.
Everyone loves explosions. That's why Michael Bay's still in business. I don't know. Well, when it comes to franchises, though, I feel like they kind of have to do
Oh yeah,
some
you have a
stuff
point.
different sometimes.
With
'cause
franchises,
once
it can be
yeah.
like they can burn their own bridges. Because like for me, it's like Assassin's Creed, I'm done. Call of Duty, I'm done. Like certain
Oh,
certain
Assassin's
franchises exist that have punched their ticket with me. It's like I'm done. I'm never going back. Peace out.
But yeah, but at the same time, though, I kind of like the fact that they at least do try to do different stuff sometimes. Because if it's like, yeah, even if the first time the formula worked for you and it's great and all, if you just stick to it, then it's gonna get. I think it's gonna get to that point, like Tropical saying, when it's like something's like just played out. Because it's like, yeah, even if it was good before, if you just keep doing it over and over again, then it's like, it's not as awesome as it was. So you kind of have to experiment to kind of.
See, it's weird because
same
part
time,
of
it's
the
like,
formula of getting good reviews is adding new stuff. And I think that's what the Assassin's Creed formula was. It's like, okay, they liked the free running, they liked the open world, they liked the assassin type thing, they liked this sort of meta story with the
Yes.
future stuff and the past stuff. So we do all those things and bigger because the formula always asks for bigger. And then you have to add something new, and we don't know what that is yet. So we will figure that out each game because
yeah, I don't know if that worked for me.
that's how that one works, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, but then you have to find a balance because if games like Borderlands, Assassin's Creed, stuff like that, it's like the fans are like, well, I expect this, and it needs to be exactly like this, and if you change it too much,
It's like they changed it. Now it sucks. It's the worst thing ever. But yeah, it's kind of a fine line. I think that's the problem with long running franchises. I think that's why Final Fantasy has kind of gotten so much flack recently too, because they try to change stuff and then it's like, no, I want my classic turn based back, and it's like, I don't. I kind of like the more actionized turn based that they've
Case in
gone
point,
towards.
Final Fantasy 20 years later. Fans still going back every time, even though they're like, well, back in the Super Nintendo, Final Fantasy
I know, right?
6, turn-based, whatever. Get over it.
Which is weird because, like, even though Final Fantasy X is like one of my favorite ones, which I think is like the only purely turn-based one of the recent ones, because now they've all been kind of action.
You control one
turn-based.
person. Yeah!
Yeah, I like 13 though, so I don't know. I was in the minority with that one though, so yeah. Everybody's like, "Where's the classic Final Fantasy? We don't want these sci-fi elements and stuff." I was like, I'm kind of over the whole fantasy part, so I was okay with it.
And then they're
So,
like, well, we went over budget. We need to recoup these costs. Trilogy,
Hey.
dudes. Doesn't
Oh,
make
God.
sense, but we're going to do it. Lightning
comment.
There's only gonna be
turns
3.
twice.
No comments on sequels. So yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes though. I mean, well, now that they're like remastering and doing other crap, maybe they'll,
I like 13.
I like 13 as well. 13-2 on the other hand, they changed it, so now it sucked.
13 was great. 13-2 was terrible.
But it wasn't
RPG
terrible.
5, aimlesspodcast.com.
I'm not saying it was terrible. I'm just saying they
Hated it.
they changed some things that they probably shouldn't have. Cause like, yeah, I don't know. It's
Like
a
I
whole
said,
discussion
dude.
for something else.
Change stuff. Fans will react to that stuff.
Yeah. Well, it just depends. Because I mean, in their defense, though, they kind of I don't know. Like I said, you still like I'm okay with the fact that they did change stuff because it's like if you just copy the same formula over and over and then just hope for the best, then probably wouldn't have liked it anyway.
Actually,
So
thinking about it, as far as game franchises go, are there any like movie or TV franchises that have like been around as long as like Street Fighter and Final Fantasy for like 20 plus years, and like Mega Man, and just
that's a good
they just
question.
never go
Bond.
away? Days of Our
Oh.
Lives or something soap opera.
I'd say probably all soap operas have been because
Like 007,
Oh yeah.
Law and Order, The
Oh, yeah.
Simpsons, I think.
Oh yeah, that too.
Oh yeah, Simpsons have been right. They're on like what season 25 or some crap
Yeah,
like
it's like as old as me.
It's like ridiculous. But that's
Uh,
true.
Well,
Although-
okay, so now that we're going totally out there,
Aimless podcast. Yeah, Aimless Island Adventures.
the Marvel model right now is a really awesome way to do sequels. I mean, basically all the movies are sequels to each other, but in non-sequel fashion, like you don't have to worry about each sequel rehashing the old stuff because they're like, you know, the sequel to Iron Man 2 arguably is what, the Hulk
No.
or Incredible Hulk, or would it be Thor? One of those. Or no, yeah, Thor is the sequel to Iron Man 2, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and so, or I guess better example would be like Avengers. The sequel was
Iron Man 3.
Iron Man 3, yeah. And so, you know, you never have to worry about them rehashing it because it's all about, it's like the characters that are carrying the franchise. And so, you know, whatever plot, like, if it fits the character, then you can do it.
It's funny that you say that, Tropical, because my mom called Avengers Iron Man 4. She's like, and then my favorite one is when they all joined Iron Man to fight in New York. And I was like,
Like, Mom,
yeah,
stop
whatever.
talking right now.
I'm not even gonna. It's like, you're my mom, so I'm not gonna interrupt you, but
Mom,
you're
back
correct
to
on
drinking.
this.
I mean, I've just been,
You sounded.
I've just been wondering if, like, if you think this is the model for franchises in the future, or is it just a flash in the pan? You know, Marvel is gonna do this until it dies, and then that was it. It was like the one like cool. I like it. It's a really cool way to do sequels in that your sequel, you know, like Rush Hour 1 and 2 are basically the same movie, but sort of reversed.
Just didn't
And it's like,
place.
that's how they did sequels in the past. But now with the Marvel universe, is like, this is sequels of the future. Maybe.
Well, only if, I guess it only works like you said if it's character driven though, because they have the characters to do that. I'm not sure,
Mm,
like necessarily. I mean, I guess long running franchises can pull stuff off like that because they would have established characters. But if it's just like some random thing, it may not work. Because I mean, the DC stuff might try that soon. Because I mean, it's just
yeah.
like well, this is working for Marvel. We should
It's,
probably.
it's hard to say. Like, it would be cool if they could do this or something similar to it instead of the regular franchise sequels formula. I think Star Wars is going to do something like
Oh
that now, right?
yeah, yeah. 'Cause it's like
Are they?
one is
It's like,
one's the
yeah.
Han's movie, and then one's the Boba Fett movie, and then there's the new trilogy, and yeah.
Oh,
It's a much more satisfying model, I think, for me than the here's one story, let's break it up into 6 different movies. Or
more
here's
of the
a
same.
short story,
Part two.
we'll make it into 3 movies. And the last book was longer, so we'll make it 2 movies.
Oh, I hate that so. That
Yeah,
is my
that's become
that
pretty
is like
popular.
my pet peeve. Of like when you do that, I will not go see that effing movie. Like F you Harry Potter, F you effing what was the other? Oh, the
Hobbit.
Hobbit. Yeah, it's like oh we're gonna this is part one.
Well, I
Nah,
think
it doesn't.
I think
We're
it's
gonna make it
because
3
the Harry
movies.
Potter one was worked out so well for them. Other people were just like, "Yeah, we should probably go ahead and hop on
It's like
this."
Twilight is like, we need 2 movies for the last book.
They did not. Probably.
Hunger Games, like, we need 2 movies for the last book.
oh, it's like dude, that is just that's like when you turn to Activision. It's like oh we can just,
You
we
should
can
turn
just
to Activision. Yeah.
split it into 2 and make double profits. Ho ho.
And what's worse is because they are annual now, so it really is
Oh,
just
man.
like that. So, hmm.
Yeah, the Marvel model is pretty kind of awesome.
Yeah, like I said, I think it only works for when you have the characters that can pull it off. Because like Marvel, I've always liked their characters because they're interesting. I mean, I'm not saying like the other comic book character properties aren't, but like stuff like because Superman has always been this has been I guess like the most popular one that I've seen in terms of movies and stuff, and I've never liked any of the movies that they have. I don't know why I keep watching them, but it's just like I don't know if it's just like his character or what it is, but it's like I've always just like this is so boring. There's nothing to him or anything.
See,
But I mean,
it's like I used to think that way, but then I started reading like one of the new ongoing series, and it like finally clicked of like why people what or like what people enjoy about him that like I wasn't getting. I was like, oh well, I can respect
Yeah.
that, but I still don't like him.
But-
So
They have not
Some
made
stuff.
the great Superman movie yet that actually is
yeah,
that
and then after I
character.
heard after how the new one ends, I was like, I can't even watch it because it's like that's not what he would do. That's not how he is. That's completely against his character. So it's like,
like,
I'm sorry,
no.
you ruined it already. So sorry, DC, try again.
they changed it. Now it sucks. Although now there isn't there a sequel now for that one or something with all the
Yeah, that's
heroes in
going to
it
be
or
the
something?
Justice League prequel.
huh.
So, oh, actually, Tekken, did you read the Free Comic Book Day Batman?
I haven't read it yet.
Ah. Did you read Batman R.I.P.?
No.
Ah.
There's a free comic day and no one told me.
I think it's still available digitally for free. So you should. It's like issue 27, I think.
Yeah, it's 27 of Detective Comics.
It is, man. It is crazy. It's really good. Like the character. I don't think we've actually seen the Batman character in the comics on the big screen yet either.
Are you talking about Damien in the future? Is it that story?
Damien and
Oh, okay, I
no.
was thinking of something else.
Okay. No, it's just like Batman RIP's story is like, oh my gosh, like this is why Batman is not just a dude in a bat suit with lots of money. He is super in his own way. And it's weird because, you know, like the DC comics were never all part of the same universe until one day they decided, hey, they should all be in the same universe. And so they had to come up with, you know, explanations for how they could meet and things like that. And the one that is very interesting to me is Green Lantern and Batman. It's like, why did the ring choose Hal Jordan and not Bruce Wayne? Because
Because
it's the power of will, right?
Yeah.
Is the green ring? So it's like
Not vengeance or
this.
fear.
Yeah, it's like this.
well,
Well, maybe that's why, it was like, oh man, this guy Bruce Wayne, he's got lots of willpower, but he is also
he's
kind
kind
of
of
a
he's
crazy
kind of
man.
damaged.
Yeah, he's
He's a
very
little damaged.
But it's like, yeah, like Bruce Wayne's superpower is our modern science tells us that willpower it's not inexhaustible. You can run out of willpower. That's why Tekken splurged on tons of games after not buying games for 6 months. But Batman, he has no end, I think, to his willpower.
It could be just because he's fueled by.
You should read Batman R.I.P. It is a cool story. It's like, oh my gosh, this man. All right, we have moved really far now.
It's what we do. You're welcome.
Although it's still connected to Injustice.
Well, yeah, DC characters. But yeah, Injustice, really good story. If you're into DC characters and you want them to get their due finally, check it out. Also, I really hope when NetherRealm does a sequel, like they can like add in more like. I think it would be really cool. Like they don't necessarily have to add this, but I just like the one thing that like would make the game for me is if they had like some sort of tag feature that way you could like have your sidekick. So it'd be like Batman and Nightwing versus
Oh, Nightwing.
two other characters with like Martian Manhunter and Superman or something. I don't know, whatever. Just 2-on-2 action superhero style. Do it. That'd be awesome. Sidekick mode.
I don't think everyone had sidekicks though.
I don't care, PG. It's like a team.
And
up,
I
though.
mean,
it's like,
and when you and if
Marvel
any of
team
them
up.
knew, and I don't know if any of them knew Batman, they probably go against having sidekicks because it's like, yeah, it doesn't usually end too well for you. So I'm just
Batman grabbing the
gonna
board.
avoid having a sidekick.
According to Young Justice, doesn't everyone basically have a sidekick?
Oh right, that's a good point.
They're
And
just all really obscure.
that's probably what it is. Well, yeah, because the sidekicks to the Young Justice guys they're like sidekicks to the big guys, right? Like Wonder Woman and like Batman and stuff. I mean, I don't think the ones they weren't really Superman sidekicks, were they? Weren't half of them like clones or some crap?
Yeah, I guess so. But like, or maybe what's the super dog's name?
Crypto.
Yeah.
Crypto. Yeah.
There
That's
were a lot of
Superman's
super animals. That's
sidekick.
weird.
All right, moving on. Besides Injustice, which is pretty awesome. Oh, also, there's also like a ton of stuff to like do after you play the story. There's like a ton of stuff to unlock and like collect or whatever in that game. So there's a lot of stuff in there. Besides that, I played Odd One New and Tasty. So I had not played this game in like years. It's probably longer than that. It's like a decade probably, but whatever.
Was it new and
I remember
tasty?
playing. It was new. It was the old version, but it wasn't like this new and tasty version. It was like the demo or whatever back in the day on whatever. And I like didn't like really like figure it or get it out. Or, like, I'm sorry, get it or figure it like know how to play. So I'm like playing this one, and then I get through the first stage, and I'm like yes, and then I get stuck on a door like immediately after that, and I'm like
Of course.
no. And then like as I was playing, I was recording, so it's like I recorded the moment when I was stuck on the door. So like I have this up on YouTube. It's like one of those moments when Tengen's like, oh, I got stuck on the door. There you go. Free to watch.
It should
on
be
YouTube.
just like a compilation videos of all the doors. It's like, oh.
Well, in the share button future, we might get one of those. Woohoo!
So yeah, new and tasty. I did enjoy what I was able to get through, but then I was like, oh, well, there's a door. But then oddly enough, I tweeted it, and then someone responded was like, oh, you have to turn around. So I was like, oh, I don't have to keep going forward, and it's somewhere behind me, and that's where I got to go. So we'll see if I can get through it. Probably not, but
That's another a useful indirect or indirectly useful feature for like the share button and stuff thing now, because now it's like if you share something and get stuck somewhere, somebody can be like, oh, well, you missed this and this and this or whatever, and then it can kind of help you if you can't like find a guide or something or whatever. So Now people can help you. Strangers
Well, when
can
they first
watch you.
unveiled it, they're like, your friends can play the game for you when you get stuck. So I'm just waiting for that when, I'm stuck in a door. That'll be my
That's kind of
Tekken stuck in a
invasive.
door alert button. I'm like, someone help me!
Alert button.
Like an old person falls down the stairs. It's like that's gonna be for me. It's like
I
Tekken stuck in a
fallen. I
door.
can't get up.
It's
I'm
like I'm
stuck
stuck
and I
in a
can't get
door.
through.
I can't get through.
It's like
Someone get
classic
past this
Tekken.
part for me.
So wasn't that what the Super Guy was supposed to be for Nintendo? There's some crap like that before, or is that
Yeah,
something else? So
the super guide.
yeah, I don't know. That just seems invasive. I want somebody just jumping in and controlling my game. Like, hey, get your own PS4. But I don't know.
So yeah, besides that, I played a bit of Gran Turismo 6. Still got the new stuff coming out. The new vision cards are out. There's one from
Aston
wow,
Martin.
yeah, Aston Martin and Nissan. So those two are out. They're both really fast and crazy, futuristic looking, and pretty cool.
I cannot drive the Aston Martin. It's really hard. I don't know why. Like I couldn't get even bronze in that season event.
Hmm.
It's
Well,
just sliding around.
yeah, it is or oversteer or understeer, whichever one of those. It is pretty wanting to do that a lot and spin out. And it is the Red Bull track, so it is a short track that you can't really make a lot of mistakes on too. So, but keep trying to I'm sure you'll get there. Or just watch my video on YouTube and do that.
Well, apparently, it's not that stringent. You just have to play it and
Oh yeah, I
have
forgot
a
about that.
one qualifying lap, and then they give you the car.
You just have to do one lap and they give it to you for free.
That's nice of them.
And there's
I
some
mean,
other
all
stuff
the
they
good it
added.
does,
You can
you can't drive it.
wait, what RPG?
Oh, no, I'm just saying all the good it does you if you can't drive the car, though. So,
But yeah, they also added the brake calipers that you can change the color of. So I did that, and I hadn't been in that mode in forever since like the game first came out. And I was like still lamenting about the whole lack of livery editor. I was like, oh, if only ... Maybe in the next one. Heh. But it's almost a year later since the games came out. So a year of free updates, constant all the time. Well, not constant all the time, but still, free updates or on a continual basis. Thumbs up, Polyphony Digital, for all the times you've delayed your games. At least this time you're able to stick to your guns and do something on a regular basis and not be like, oh, delay, it's coming, we're working on it. Like, well, I guess you kind of did that. You just kept working on it, and then when it was done, it's like, haha, it's done, it's free. They'll never know, maybe.
was that their master plan?
Probably, I'm guessing.
Mm.
But yeah, it's pretty much all I've been playing because I wasn't at work, so I didn't play Sly or any other
I love
Halo game.
how you not being at work stops you from playing games,
That's
but
the
when you are at work, you're playing
It's the
games.
only
I
time I
feel
play
like
handheld games, RPG. What are you talking about?
that's backwards. Huh. Hmm.
I'm kind of taking a sabbatical from Mass Effect because it's just I'm almost
What's
there. I think the problem is I'm almost there, so I can see it. So I'm just like being very that one word right now.
the one word you're looking for?
What's that thing when like you procrastinate? That I'm procrastinating about it because it's like, oh, I could clear this map on gold, but I don't want to. Oh, and then after that, when I'm almost done, and I have all these promotions I need to do. I don't want to buy another year of gold though, so we'll see. Because I have some like 48-hour passes for Xbox Live Gold. So if worse comes to worse, I'll just wait until a day I have free time and be like, all right, let's do this. But after getting my taste of PS4, it's kind of hard to go back. No share button. Xbox 360. It is Mass Effect though, so. But yeah, that's all I've been playing. I think. I'm pretty sure.
You think?
Oh, Entwine, dude. Okay, so Entwine. Wow, I knew there was something else. Well, it's probably in here somewhere in this folder of the thingy. So just disregard the Gran Turismo 6 on the screen right now until I can find it. But so this game was the game that was at E3. They're like, okay, starting this moment or today, I forgot, or like after the conference, you can go ahead and buy it now. And it's like $10. I was like, okay, whatever. And like I already pre-ordered it, so I finally played it. Really cool game. I enjoyed it very much. It's one of those. It's kind of hard to describe outside of the mechanics, but it has that feel of one of those games that it wants to be on a level of something that's just more than just shooting dudes in the face and stuff. So I enjoyed it for the abstract visuals, and the music is good, really amazing music, and the color palette very very trippy. Gets a bit of the don't want to say that word because it's synesthesia. It gets a bit of the synesthesia feel going on. So yeah, I like that too. And you get to turn into a giant bird of awesome and spread your rainbow colors around the screen. It's great. And yeah, I enjoyed it. And then as the screen and as the credits were rolling, I was like, it's like made with Unity. And I was like, what? They made this with Unity? I need to make a game now, which I've been thinking of doing, but I just haven't gotten around to it. So yeah, and you'd be like Tropical and just start hunkering down on the game development and getting stuff done. But yeah, Entwined, I would totally recommend if you're into the experimental type of games, small indie stuff. Cause yeah, it was fun and I enjoyed it for what it was. So, not a long game, but that's not what it's about. It's about the experience, not the quantity and length and blah blah blah. And is it worth my dollars? So yeah, that was Entwined and I enjoyed it. And that is, I believe, all I've been playing.
Are you sure?
I'm not sure, but if I remember, I will burst in with what I've been playing.
That sounds like normal.
I just need to check my Twitter feed and be like, what did I share on my share button? I'm pretty sure that's it though. I'm pretty sure.
All right. So I got a question.
Okay.
This week, it was announced that EA was releasing something called EA Access exclusively to Xbox One. It is $5 a month, or I believe it's $30 a year.
Oh.
The bulk of it is you get 10% off of new game purchases for like all of their games and DLC digital off of Xbox One. Plus, you get, I think it's like 5 days early access to their new upcoming games. That's not actual, like, you buy it. It's a 5 day sort of demo. And then if you want to buy it, then you can pay the 10% off, whatever the rest is. And then the last thing, which makes it kind of like PlayStation Plus, is you get access to something they're calling the EA Vault. It's starting out with 4 games. Battlefield 4, Madden 25th Anniversary, FIFA, whatever the last one was, and
whatever the last one. Wow.
Peggle 2.
One of these things is not like the others. One of these things is Peggle.
So, it was announced exclusively for Xbox One, and everyone's like, how come PlayStation doesn't have it? And a representative from PlayStation came out and said that they had evaluated it, and they decided it was not a good value for PlayStation customers.
Basically, what they were saying is they don't deal in crap, and you don't want your... It's like, take your BS over to Microsoft, because they love terrible things. Look at their console. So, they can have it. Is pretty much what happened, is what I'm assuming in that meeting.
So I'm wondering what side you guys are on. Like, a lot of people are saying, oh, Sony sucks. Look, they're doing a PR fiasco now by saying, oh, our customers don't want to choose, or we're not going to let our customers choose for themselves. Like, basically, a lot of people are thinking, oh, Sony wanted a bigger cut of the pie, and EA was like, no, and they're like, fine, then you can't do it on our system, which, frankly, I think is insane. But that's what people think they did. Other people are saying, oh, it's because PlayStation Now is coming, and so they don't want competitors on their system, and they're like, no, so we're not gonna let you do it.
Well, the PlayStation Now thing, I don't know, because it's like the pricing would be, I don't know. I don't know if that would even count as a competitor, because between the pricing and the type of games and stuff, EA wouldn't really be cutting out from that, I don't think, because it's going to be mostly like EA Sports games or whatever, right?
It's only stuff published by them anyway, though. So if
yeah,
you're
like,
EA games, it's completely mute to you.
That was part of Sony's sort of statement. They were like, yeah, we have PlayStation Plus, and we don't feel like another subscription service for just one publisher is good value for PlayStation.
Which kind of makes sense, because I mean, like, for me, like, I wouldn't have even, for one, I probably wouldn't even looked into it because it's EA. I don't care. So I don't.
Well, okay. So first of all, like, despite the publisher, do you think it's good value?
Uh,
Or I guess you can't detach it from the publisher. Like people are saying, oh, you know, if I just want to play Battlefield 4 and or well, I guess that's the thing. Like the Vault doesn't have a lot of games in it, and the thing is, if it's exclusive to Xbox One, that means it's exclusive to next gen, which means like how many EA games are there right now? There's Live, which everyone hated, UFC, Titanfall, Plants vs Zombies, the modern or Garden Warfare.
Are these things not even on the? These things aren't even on PlayStation systems to begin with, are they? Like Titanfall and stuff
Well,
is
Titanfall isn't, but
already.
like Garden Warfare is going to be on PlayStation.
Oh, because I just about to say if they're just because there's the first problem right there. It's like games like
There's no
not even on the
Titanfall on
console,
PlayStation,
so
so
it's like what's even the point? But I don't know because like from what the subscription sounds like it's getting you, it doesn't really sound like a good value, at least not to me personally. I mean, I'm pretty sure there are people out there who are like hardcore EA fans, and for them it's like 10% off games, yeah. But for me, it's just like, it wouldn't. I could just spend put that $30 towards my PlayStation Plus subscription and just do that, because then I could use that across three different consoles and still get a bunch of free games and discounts and stuff too, which might include some EA games anyway. So it's like I don't know. It just hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think I would kind of have to agree because it is just one publisher, and it doesn't for me. It just doesn't sound like it would be all that beneficial.
yeah, I agree. Like, even
So
though I would have liked to have been given the choice, it just seems like it would have set a precedent to where every publisher would have wanted to get their hands
yeah,
in the pie of
mm,
just like,
because
oh, now we want to cut, and you can get these discounts, even though you already have this. Well, I guess there is no PlayStation Plus on Xbox One, but like whatever. So because that's but like on PlayStation 4, it doesn't make as much sense because it's like, well, you already get discounts, you already get free games, and like this is just giving you discounts on new games, but it's adding on top of the cost of like your whatever services
mm.
you already have, and then if there's like other publishers come out with this and it's just stacking and stacking and stacking, and then
yeah,
it's
because then
just you're
because at
paying
one
more for like what are you really getting out of it at that point?
because eventually, because I mean, I'm pretty sure we all have like dozens of publishers and stuff that we buy games from. So it's like if you think about it, if you could end up with like a yearly subscription to like each of them, you're gonna be spending like hundreds upon hundreds of dollars every year. And it's like, are you really getting the benefit back from that? Because like, yeah, 10% off it sounds like it's good at first, but then when you're like, well, I'm spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars, the $6 I'm getting off of these games might not be the best way to. I don't know. Just like this, it's probably not that big of a benefit for me. So
And like when I look at EA's portfolio, it's like what do they have that I care about? It's like Mass Effect, SSX, sometimes Need for Speed, Mirror's Edge. Used to be Dead Space until they sucked it up.
well, that was free on PlayStation Plus anyway, so you could have just played that there.
Well, yeah, like I think it's interesting to think about what everyone gets, and I think EA, from their point of view, they're probably looking at things like PlayStation Plus and saying, you know, people who have Plus, yes, maybe they go on there for the free games, but those people are also buying a lot more games because they get those PlayStation Plus discounts.
But the discounts are a lot bigger than 10% a
Well,
lot of
yeah,
times.
but you know,
So,
like so for EA, it makes sense for them. Like at first, I was like, why does this make sense? Like now they would, if they put stuff in the vault, then they're losing money on new game sales. But then if you think about it, well, EA is probably not gonna put, you know, the new Battlefront day one in the vault. They're gonna sell it for a year or two and then be like, oh hey, now it's on the vault if anyone else wants to play it, and buy the premium pack, which gives you all the map packs.
What is the vault
Um,
again?
the vault is basically instant game collection.
Okay.
It's like, and yeah, like if you think about it, it wouldn't, I guess it wouldn't make sense for EA to ever put a new game in the vault unless they were making tons of money off of people, you know, taking advantage of discounts. But that won't happen instantly. That has to happen over time. And so I don't know if the console generation is long enough to see that kind of return. From Sony's point of view, Yeah, I think maybe. Well, it's weird. Like, so, Tekken, you think that they should have let us choose?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, like
Because that,
I don't know about
that
that.
is like what they've been saying like since Xbox One, dear and blah blah. We're gonna give you the choice of used games, blah blah.
Mm.
We're gonna give you the choice of blah blah. And like it's like, oh well, we're not gonna give you the choice here. So it's like that doesn't really fit with the PR spiel they've been giving us
But I
since
mean,
PS4.
if they had never announced it, you wouldn't have even missed it. So it's like one of those things. Like, do you even care that they're not giving you the choice for something like this? Because you even mentioned yourself that I mean, outside of like Mass
Well,
Effect, you're
I
not
mean, me
like.
personally, I don't care about it, but it's like as far as like people that play like are wow, I mean, sports games and other EA properties, that they carry like Battlefield and whatnot. It's like maybe they're all like, well, I want to get my discounts and cheap
Although I
DLC.
also noticed that quite a few EA games kind of drop in price pretty soon after release
Pretty
too. So
rapidly, yeah.
yeah, so that's another thing too. Because I don't know, it's like there's just so many factors that just seem like this would not be a good or like a beneficial deal for consumers. But I mean, to them, it like Tropical was saying, it probably made sense to them when they
Yeah.
were doing the stuff anyway. Because it's like, well, we can get
See,
more people.
when I look at it from Sony's point of view, I sort of think it's not. It's sort of complicated. I mean, like usually when you say, "Oh, it's better to have lots of choices," that's because like price competition, like competition can occur. But the thing with games is there's not really any price competition. It's sort of they set the prices and everyone sets their prices and people don't compete over price really. They compete over, "Oh, our game is like this. Our game is like this." And so I guess when people say it's like, "Oh, it would have been nice to have the choice," and then just let EA fail on their own, it's like I, I don't know that that would have ever happened. And then the thing is, like, once EA succeeds, a lot of things could happen. Like, if EA succeeds, then yeah, every other publisher wants to do it, and that makes I think it would make the platform a bit less attractive.
It would, because it's gonna make fragmentation, just like you have Origin,
Yeah.
just like you have UPlay, just like you have Steam. It's
Yeah,
like
they do have Origin. God, I
it
forgot
just
about all these
splits
other
up
things.
it
'Cause,
just
like, first of all, I think it would erode away the value of PlayStation Plus. It's like suddenly everyone has their own EA vault. Then PlayStation Plus is suddenly like, oh, we're never gonna get any of these games from Activision or Ubisoft or
Yeah,
EA
because like now they
or
want to keep it for
anyone.
themselves for their
It's
own.
just gonna be indie games. They're just gonna keep it in their vault so that they can get those subscription prices.
Although they would be able to still like, because for like digital games on PlayStation or on the PlayStation Network, they still be able to do stuff like that though, wouldn't they? Even if it's not.
yeah.
So I mean,
It wouldn't be that much of a loss if you
Well,
lose
like,
the mega
well,
publishers, but it would be a blow.
why would it would be a blow for some people. Maybe not necessarily us, but like for some people, if you're
Actually, it's
never
funny,
gonna get an
Tropical.
EA game,
On the video for what was it, the free plus games for next month that they showed, like like if you look at the likes and the dislikes on that YouTube video, it's just like a bunch of people whining about, oh, I want AAA games for free, that don't really understand the whole like
yeah,
what PlayStation
exactly.
Plus is about. So I see another situation with this with
what do
that.
they mean they want triple? Aren't what games are coming to
Someone
next
was like,
month?
I pay however many euros or whatever for this. You could at least give us knack. I play this much a year. It's like, oh, dude, shut the f up. Like, you don't even know. Like, the game hasn't been out for a year, and it's like it's a launch title, so it's like they're trying to make money off the game. They can't just give it away for free day one. Like indie game stuff, they can do that, but AAA not, or first party stuff not so much.
I mean, for me, they've had a good selection for the PlayStation Plus stuff since I've been subscribing to it. So I
Yeah.
mean, I
Well,
don't.
it's not just that
That's
RPG. Like
not
you can't.
it's like,
How can you complain about getting free games? Like how can you
well,
complain? Like
there's that
I
too,
don't
I
even
guess.
see the logic
But
in that. I want knack for
That's
free.
yeah, like it. I think that's what would happen though, right? Like if you had your own vault and you were getting subscriptions for your vault,
mm,
why would you put games from your vault into other people's
to the-
vaults?
Yeah.
yeah, I guess that makes sense. Because
And so, like, over time, you would sort of like PlayStation Plus would become less and less of a value proposition. And then there's more and more of these other things. It's like, oh, so Right now it's like, oh, you buy PlayStation 4, and then a guy will tell you, get PlayStation Plus. Not only is it required, it is the most awesome deal out there that you can get. Like, it's free
Uh,
games, like tons and tons of free games to play. So many games you will never finish playing them. It
And
is
I think
I
that
ridiculous.
could
don't
be
know
like
if you could really say it's required. That's kind
I
of
think it could also lead to like a secondary issue of like the proliferation of like even more DLC. It's like, oh, you have the base game for
Yeah.
free, but you don't have all these add-ons and season passes it's just like, oh, I'm so sick
It
of
would
season
it would
passes
just
and
be
DLC. It's just
really crazy. Like, yeah, if that was the future, then it would be like you buy a PlayStation 4, and then it's like, okay, so now, and upselling is what people do, is like, okay, it's PlayStation Plus, this is required for online play, but it's not that great a deal as it was in the beginning. And then it's like, oh, what games do you like? It's like, oh, okay, so you should get the EA pass, and you like Assassin's Creed, so you should get the Ubisoft pass. And suddenly,
yeah,
your $450 becomes
like 700 or
seven
something.
hundred
'Cause by the time
dollars
you're
because
like,
you had to buy
like,
all these passes too.
it's like, but I like 20 publishers. Well,
It just
guess what?
it's like the App Store, for example. The App Store, there is no, you're not. There's a ton of choices basically on the App Store, and that has not been a good thing. Like, that has resulted in the race to the bottom. So, not it's not. I don't think it's necessarily just, oh, we're denying you the choice. They're also, and I don't think it's necessarily like, oh, we're not getting a big enough cut. I think that's crazy. Why would they do that? It's like,
Yeah.
even a 10% cut is a 10% cut. People like Madden. There are people who play only Madden. So
It's 10%
why
is
wouldn't
all-
you want a piece of that,
Because when you think about
regardless
it,
of what it was?
because 10% of it just sounds like a small amount because the 10% part. But when you think about it, when it's like millions and stuff like that,
Yeah, it's like,
it's a lot
that's
of money.
still a lot of
It's
money.
like, yeah, it's not a small amount. So
I think it's more a case of protecting the value of like PlayStation and PlayStation Plus.
yeah, because I feel like, I mean, I think people are just mad more about like the whole choice thing. Because I think at the end of the day, it's probably better that if they did say no to something like this to protect, if they were out to just like protect their own service and everything. Because like, because let's see, how can I?
Like, yeah, it is protecting their own service, but in a way it's also protecting their customers.
Yeah,
And like that, it doesn't have to be an altruistic thing. Like, protecting your customers is a good idea because that means you get to keep your customers.
and it's like it may be exclusive to Xbox, but when you think about it, comparing Live to PlayStation Plus now, it's kind of like the value difference is kind of big. So it
They're actually
maybe
getting pretty close.
are they? I mean,
Kind of.
I don't have a Microsoft console anymore, so
Which is sort
Not
of
sure.
worrying to me. I wonder what happened behind the scenes, because if you think about it, before PlayStation Plus was, you got a lot of different games in a month, and now if you only have one system, you get 2 games. And what is that like? Well, that's like games for gold.
Hmm.
And like, when did that happen? It's like, well, it's when Games for Gold suddenly was able to get Xbox One games, and then they took on the model of PlayStation Plus. And it makes me wonder, is like, is this a deal that the publishers worked out, and it became like this? Like, oh yeah, there's only gonna be 2 free games on every console per month, and that's all we want to do.
Hmm. Hmm.
It does seem that way because it's like on PlayStation Plus for the longest time it was like, how can they be giving away all these free games? Especially,
Yeah.
especially when you had like stuff like Bioshock Infinite, Tomb Raider, and Borderlands. It's like you have top-notch games free all the time.
So like the coming month, I think Xbox One is Strike Suit Zero
Hmm.
and
Dishonored.
Dishonored for Xbox 360.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
forgot. There's that Crimson Dragon game I think as well.
Yep, Crimson Dragon for Xbox One. And what was the other 360 game?
I don't.
I think it was
It's like,
brother, or not brothers, but that one that's like the two
That one,
two
really?
brothers, but it's not called brothers. Max and something something. That one. or
Oh
something.
yeah, Max Wait, is it?
I,
Yeah, Max and Curse of the Brotherhood. I
yeah,
think it's
that
that one.
one.
Eh.
So it's like, Dishonored is good, but it's also it's sort of back to their really old games type thing.
Or games people already own, or have already played, because it wins so many Game of the Year awards.
And PlayStation Plus next month is for PS4. It's always good because not everyone has most. Road Not Taken.
I don't know what that is.
It's a indie. How to describe it? I guess it's a puzzle game, sort of, right?
It's interesting. It's like you have to
Yeah,
survive in this
interesting.
world.
That explains everything.
It's like indie insert adjective here
Yeah.
for how you would like to describe it.
Fez, which is cross-buy, so you actually get all three versions of
Oh
those.
yay!
For PS3, it's going to be Crisis 3 and Proteus. And Proteus is cross-buy, so you also get the Vita version of that. And then
Dragon's Crown.
for Vita is Dragon's Crown and Metrico. And so like Road Not Taken and Metrico are new. Dragon's Crown is awesome because that's not cross-buy, but they're still giving out the PS3 version and the Vita version. Well, okay, so if it were not for cross-buy, it would be 2 games per platform.
I was just about to mention that too. I was like, it's like because the platforms.
But the thing about with cross-buy is like, it's cool, but it is the same game.
Yeah, but it's the same game on a different console, so that makes it new and special. But I'm just saying. Well, I mean, it's just, or in that case, it just kind of benefits people who don't have necessarily all 3 or all whatever number of consoles for it. You could just, so it still technically exists for the other consoles, even if it's not part of the 2 games for free that was specific for that console or something.
That's
So because you may not get that same thing with the games for gold. Like I said, I don't know because I don't have a 360 anymore. So
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is to the EA access problem, but or not problem.
is it? I was saying I wouldn't really call it a
product.
problem.
The EA access product. It reminds me actually of didn't EA launch something like that before? I think it was EA Sports Season Pass or something like that.
Something like that in the story I read. But
Yeah, it was like
something
3-day early access to EA Sports games, and then you could buy them after that for
a discounted price or something.
I don't know if the games had discount. I think like DLC had discount.
Oh, ew.
It was weird.
Although maybe that's why they expanded it, because it's like, well, this one wasn't as successful as it could have been because of our narrow focus, and we have other games under our umbrella, so let's.
I mean,
give it
yeah,
to
I
everyone.
guess at some point EA access could be really good value, but it's hard to say if that will ever come to pass. I mean,
And
if you
if
think
that is the
about the
case,
EA
though-
games, there's lots of good ones coming out. There's Battlefront, Mirror's Edge 2, Dragon Age Inquisition, some people like. Mass Effect is under theirs.
But I mean,
Uh,
but I mean, is it worth the trouble of just getting a early demo of it to say it's like a good value or something? Because I mean,
Well, the value would come from those being in the vault. Like the vault, I
of
think, is
course.
the best value. The discount thing, EA has a habit of releasing a game in August or September, and then by the time it's November, it's like $20-$30 cheaper.
Sometimes even before then, because I've seen
Yeah.
games that they've released and it's like the week after it's like half off, and I'm like, oh, that was quick. It's like, I
So
think that's part of the
10%
reason why
off doesn't. It makes sense for them. It's like, oh, you got this 10%, and we let you buy it a week early. Do you want it? Do you want it? And then some people will be like, yes, I do want it. And they don't have to pay the royalties. Really, they get probably bigger piece of the pie digitally, and yeah, like everything works out in EA's favor that way.
And I mean,
Plus, they got your subscription fee.
it may be exclusive to Xbox now, but I mean, that's not unless there was like some kind of contractual thing going on where they're like, well, you can't do anything in the future kind of thing. They could always just go back to them after and be like, see, it was a good idea. You should totally have us on your system, and then it can end up on the other consoles or whatever else gets released by then too. So I mean, because I feel like they're not going to miss out on an opportunity for
Yeah.
money if they can get it. So unless there was like some kind of contract thing that prevents them from doing it, then it may only be a timed exclusive, like most of the stuff on Microsoft stuff now, because money. So
Well,
Well,
I
it's
guess
not
the way
exclusive,
I
it's just
see it,
they just didn't see it as a value to the customers
yeah.
at the time. So
The way I
maybe
see it,
when
I,
there's
I
enough
hope
games in the
that
vault.
it's never is.
yeah, because we really might just run into that problem if it becomes popular. Then it's like, well,
Yeah.
now everyone wants to do it. So
I
let
I don't want everyone to have a vault. Like it was awesome when Netflix was sort of the one place that you could go for all the streaming media, but now,
Oh yeah, see that's a thing too. It's true.
yeah, it's sort
It's
of
kind of
like,
just a thing.
why did I not get cable anymore? Eventually, people are going to be paying as much as they were paying for cable, except they'll just be paying it out to, little
Various
bits of it
things.
to everyone.
Because like when you think about it, because there's like Amazon movies and Hulu and Crackle and Crunchyroll and all these. It's like by the time once it
Yeah.
all, it's like you get all these things. It's like yeah, I could have just subscribed to them. Yeah. So yeah, I guess yeah. Once something becomes popular, everybody else kind of wants to dip their finger in there. It's like oh, I kind of want a piece of that action too. So yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily want to say I want EA to fail, but at the same time,
I kind of
I
want them
want
to
EA
fail.
to fail. So yeah, it's like, so yeah. Hmm.
All
I
right,
guess
Dad.
this will be interesting to see. When is it supposed to be launching for them?
Next week, I think we'll talk about the pre-order thing. I don't know if that was on air last
Wait,
time.
when? Yeah, that, your thing you cut out when you were telling me. I missed it.
Tropical?
Mm. Oh yeah, still here?
What were you saying?
Okay, yeah, because it's
I
on
think.
hold.
Oh, I think. Yeah, next week we'll do the pre-order thing. I don't know if we recorded that at one point, but it was something about why the anti-pre-order
Oh
movement.
yeah, I don't get that. Whatever.
So we'll see.
So are we into the news yet?
I guess so.
Yeah, I guess we're into the news. We already went through PlayStation Plus. The EA Access thing was also announced this week. The Walking Dead will apparently get a season 3. That was announced at Comic-Con.
Already?
Yep. Season 2 is not even over.
Sheesh.
Well, I guess speaking of pre-orders, they announced Call of Duty has two
Three.
different
Yeah.
special editions, or 3 of them if you count the
Think it's
digital one.
Either way, it's more than one.
Yep. So there's that. They finally revealed the collector's edition that's coming out for Disney Infinity 2.0 for PlayStation platforms. It's a really cool looking display stand. You get the Hulk early, and it comes actually with all of the Avenger characters.
You had
It
me
is
at
also $180.
Oh. and then you lost me at $180.
So it's
'Cause
like,
that's,
man,
like,
even if you
steep.
bought each individual character, that's still another $60 that you're spending on the stand, I guess. You could get another game.
You really could. Or, at $180, that's near
That's 3
console level
games.
pricing. So it's like, oh, that's pretty steep. But I do like Disney more than life itself. So, hmm.
Also, Little Big Planet 3 got its release date announced November 18th.
Crap, that's the same day
Both
as Persona Q.
both the PS4 and the PS3 versions are coming out this year, apparently. They announced their pre-order bonuses, a Sackboy for girl plushies. I'm
For
not sure
which
where that.
one?
I think that one's from. Actually, I don't remember where. And then a whole bunch of sort of pre-order costumes. So, Dragon Age Inquisition, I think, is in there. There's the PlayStation Favorites bundle, so it's like uh, Delson Row.
Oh, wasn't that the one they called the Sly and Jack and Dexter and all
Yeah,
Terrorway stuff and all
but
that
it
jazz?
was
Ever
they
announced them?
have it's the PS4 characters. So there's like a Killzone character and
Knack.
I don't know who else is beloved from PlayStation 4.
Can you really
It's
count
too
anything as
new.
beloved this
Yeah.
early? Yeah, I'm about to say.
What did
Is the share
people
button in
like?
there tropical? I like my share button.
They should have a share button.
That would- I
That'd
just
be-
want to say that would be
Photoshop for
interesting.
controller playable that lights up.
Huh. That could be a thing, or you can have it like an accessory or something.
I'm excited that that's coming out this year. I was not sure that it would.
No, it's on the same date. Why?
Persona Q Thanksgiving 25th.
No, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because now I'm never gonna play Little Big Planet. Well, now I gotta go cancel something else now. Man, now I gotta ruin someone else's day. Thanks a lot, developers slash publishers. Thanks a lot.
The PlayStation Now open beta starts tomorrow, right on schedule. That's kind of rare.
It's
I
interesting
don't-
if you watch
what-
the YouTube video because at the very end they're like, we've been getting feedback and people want to, or have been asking us for subscription prices or whatever, and they're like, we might have something to say about that in the future. So I'm hoping Gamescom or something, who knows, or just soon.
Do it.
Subscription pricing.
So the question is like, why wouldn't they have done it already? Because
It's only
that
in beta.
uh,
So
okay, maybe that
people
makes
still need
sense.
to like give feedback on how good the service is. I guess I don't know.
With a ton of people playing on it at the same time. Maybe. The pricing is going to be the lowest price is being lowered by $1. So instead of $2.99 for a 4-hour rental, it looks like $1.99 will be the lowest for a 4-hour rental.
It's funny
That's
because I
like-
saw that and I was like, you know what? I might actually use that just to play a stream version of a game I already have, and then clear it from my backlog in like 4 to 8 hours, and be like, haha.
No.
That'd be kinda cool.
That would be
That's-
extremely.
Although I
counterintuitive.
feel like
That's two
the
flash
90
sale
day
games now. I don't want to do it.
the 90-day rental price seems okay in a lot of circumstances. The 4-hour I still think is too high. Like $2. Wow, it sounds really cheap to say $2 is too high, but it's not the like take my money price.
That sounds like a terrible price.
But yeah, they are sort of treating it as a beta. It's hard to tell these days. Sometimes betas are just demos, but I guess they are kind of treating it as a beta, even though they are making money off. Well, maybe that's the most accurate way to see what people will actually pay instead of asking them. What else is there to say about PlayStation Now? Only going to be on PS4,
It's
I
exclusive
think-
to PlayStation.
right?
I don't know. I think
I think the open beta only comes to PS4 tomorrow.
I don't know. I do not know. Oh yeah, it is from
Um,
PS4.
Yeah. It's going to be integrated directly into the PlayStation Store. So there's not going to be another PlayStation Now like icon on your bar, your menu. Um, hmm. Yeah, we're launching with 100 some titles. There's actually already most of those titles up there. So I don't know. See what people think starting tomorrow. Should be fun.
Should it though? Should it?
It should. I
Oh,
decree
my.
it.
Oh dear. Fine.
What else came out at Comic-Con?
There was a Firefly or Serenity MMO or something.
Oh yeah. The original actors and actresses will be in that doing voice work. So that's cool.
Is it though?
Did you read the stuff from the Mass Effect panel?
Yeah.
Anything
It's
fun?
pretty effing far off, dude. So I'm kind of like whatever. I'll just wait until
Never
the
mind,
trailer.
man.
I could have
I
told
mean,
you
I did
that.
like what I read, but I was like, whoa, 2016. That's damn. Okay.
Yeah. Well, now you know how I feel. So
So I was like,
get over
whatever.
it.
They still not. Or yeah, we'll see. I don't know. There's not really. It's just like, yeah, keep waiting. You've been waiting. Keep waiting. So I'll just keep waiting.
I've been waiting since 2006. So, just putting that out there.
Well, RPG. That's kind of what you get when you're gonna throw your money behind Square Enix and they're slow.
They didn't used to be this slow, Tekken. That's why
Tacticless.
they did not used to be this slow. As a matter of fact, there was at one point where there's like damn near 3 back-to-back releases. From 8 to 10.
3.
8 to 10 was, and then 11 came out. Then there was 12, and then the long development happened.
Well, that PlayStation 3 hardware. Yeah, it'll
It
get you.
can't it couldn't have been that hard to develop for. Sheesh.
Many a studio met their fate at the hands of that console. Factor 5, pour it out. Shh, Blair.
Oh. Yeah.
Free Radical was it?
Oh man, yeah.
Well, the PS4 is apparently easier to develop for, so hopefully we don't have that kind of problem
Mercenaries,
anymore.
why? Mercenaries 3, why? Never gonna happen.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Somewhere along the way, we lost our good friends Activision. I mean, Acclaim and THQ.
Oh. There was a lot of studio closures.
Mm, I think that's the news.
Great.
There's probably more Comic Con stuff, but whatever. It's nothing important.
Yeah, if we can't remember it now, then it's not important.
I think it was like Legend of Korra, but I didn't watch the trailer, so.
Well, that was announced a while ago from Platinum Games.
Yeah, but we didn't know what it looked like, did we?
I guess that's
What?
true.
The game itself.
We still don't really know what it looks like. It's sort of it looks like a budget cel-shaded game, which it is. But maybe, the action is really good because it is Platinum. Well, there were some like weird stories.
Oh
The
dear.
ones that caught my attention this week were there was one about
Well, Aimless Podcast is all about the weird tropical.
It's what we do.
Did you not hear us talk about Mono Mon Piece last week?
Hey.
Or
Hey.
the Gurgle image search I had to go through to get the box art for the game? Let me tell you.
That is kind of funny though.
I'd never seen a mosaiced out PlayStation Vita before, but thanks, Mono Mon Piece. Thanks.
You're welcome. They said as they rubbed their Vitas.
what was it? Like two brothers, I guess, they used Airbnb. And if you don't know what that is, it's like an alternative to getting hotels. So people offer their houses for rent for a certain period of time,
Stranger danger.
and then you just go and you find a house that you like, and then you pay the people, and then you stay at their house.
It's kind
And so
of bed and breakfast.
I think it happened in California. Like two brothers rented a place for 44 days, and then when the contract expired, they refused to leave, and they claimed tenants' rights because I guess in
I don't think
California,
you're not allowed to like thinking evict somebody
yeah,
for
it's like
certain
after
number
30
of time or
days
some
you have
crap.
tenants' rights, and they became the Airbnb squatters. And it became weird for gaming because it turned out that these two brothers were responsible for two Kickstarter games. Like one of them was successful, or the Kickstarter campaign was successful, but then they were like, "Oh, the game isn't coming out yet because we had to go through some restructuring because we're
Oh,
being
is this
bought."
because
So,
they were the ones who released that game that was like first or something else from what they were
I don't know.
kickstarting or something?
No, yeah,
Or
no. Well, they offered as sort of compensation this other game that their company is making, but that game is like currently in a Kickstarter. It
huh?
was just weird. I read that story, I was like, I don't know, whatever.
They sound kind of shady.
Sometimes there's good Kickstarters, sometimes there aren't. That's what happens.
Yeah, there's like that. I think I'm not sure if it's an opinion or some one other culture or whatever article on Polygon. They're like, how you know to like tell a shady Kickstarter from a non-shady Kickstarter if there are programmers involved. That's rule number one.
Yes. You need programmers.
So now I'm kind of like unsung story. I don't know. I haven't heard anything in a couple months. I don't know, dudes.
Oh man.
What's going on?
They ran off with your money.
But they seem so legit. I don't know.
That's how they get you.
The other story was about the Final Fantasy Type Zero fan translation project.
Oh,
That was a weird story too. So apparently, Type Zero was announced in what, 2006? Came
it was
out
announced a long
in
time the other
2000
ones.
Yeah. Came out in 2011, and then we never heard anything about a Western release. And so the fans decided it's never going to happen. We're going to do it. And so a guy, I don't remember his first name. Last name's, or he calls himself like Sky Cloud Blade or something like that. And so they
Yeah,
just called him Sky in the article.
Final Fantasy fans.
He lives in Spain, and they asked him, and it was like, oh, he's not worried about the copyright thing or whatever because apparently the laws in Spain are different. And so he and a bunch of fan translators, like, they worked thousands of hours to make translations to this game.
They did.
And apparently, like Square Enix, they knew about it and apparently had talked to the team about, well, no one knows. Like, he had to sign an NDA, and so no one knows what happens in the conversations. At one point, he decided, oh, we're going, they announced a release date. It was going to come out August 8th, I think, of this year.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, cool. And then for some weird reason, Sky, on the eve of E3, decided we're going to release it tomorrow. We're going to release it one day before E3. And then,
And then lo and behold.
yeah, it tore the translation team apart. Like, most of the team was like, it's not ready. Like, we have never even played the entire game with the translations in it. And Sky was like, no, it's fine. Like, I thought it was fine since February. And the translation team, they're in their comments, it's just like, yeah, the guy had really low standards. And we were just like, we're fans. Like, we want to do this justice. But no, Sky made the decision to release it the day before E3. And then, as we all know, at E3, Square Enix announced that Type Zero, Remastered is coming out in the West on Xbox One and PS4. And so it became this weird thing. Like, the team was like, it feels like he just released it to sort of stick it to Square Enix. And we were, we didn't really want to be a part of that. And, there's speculation is like, well, did Square Enix tell Sky that they were gonna release it here, and that's why he decided, no, I'm gonna preempt them. Ha, suck it, Square Enix.
Because some people
But
were like theorizing that they might not have actually told him that they were doing it so much as they might have told him they were doing it and they wanted him to take it down before or to stop doing it beforehand because they were like, well, we already plan on localizing it, we just haven't announced it yet. But he was just like, yeah, but I'm gonna release it, so good luck with that, Square Enix. But
yeah,
and but then. But then I was seeing like some people like commenting because like they seem like or they were like trying to say like Square Enix was like actually in the wrong in this or something. But then it's like it's their property. They can. I mean, if they don't want. I mean, if they want to stop a translation coming out because they're localizing their game, it's. I mean, you can't really fault them for that.
yeah.
And not to mention if their translation wasn't ready to begin with. So it's like at the same time, if he's rushing trying to just beat them to the punch just because he's mad about it or something, it's not. Oh.
It's a weird thing. I mean, I used to be in like fan sub circles for anime, and there's sort of this unspoken rule, or not unspoken rule. It's sort of misinterpreted in how the law actually works. Basically, you're allowed to fan sub something until someone buys the rights in America. At which point, you sort of bow out gracefully. It's like, oh, we put in the work, but we knew that this might happen, and actually, this is a good thing. I mean, the only reason we were fan subbing it is because we want people here to watch it. And so, if they're going to release it officially, then we would much rather people support them in that, and so maybe in the future they'll do that more often.
Yeah, because I've noticed things on like sites where they'd be like, "Well, this has been licensed by so and so, so we can't, so we're not gonna do it anymore." So it's like, it's like so. But this seems,
which is like legally, it's totally wrong. Like that is not how the law works. But whatever, and like the goodwill thing and all that, and. This just doesn't seem like that at all.
It seems like a bit more malicious.
This is just like, we spent all this time? No, it will not go to waste.
But yeah, I think they were like forced to take it down or something though, so...
Yeah, like what you were saying is like, it's sort of... He posted a post that basically was like, we are the victims. Like, Square Enix is mistreating their biggest fans by doing this, and so bye.
Yeah, and then and it's like since we don't know like what was said or what actually happened because I guess he isn't allowed to say and they haven't said anything about it, so it's like people can only like speculate, and it's like, well, once again, it is still their game, so.
Had no intention of making a remaster, but when they saw that the translation was coming out, they decided, we're going to announce one and crush this project.
But it's like, why would they... I don't know. It just seems like, why would they even
it's like
go through the trouble?
Because something like that isn't free.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's like announced it, you have to do it.
It's like there's money that has to go into this project. It's not like it's like, yeah, we're doing it just to spite you, but I mean, yeah, it's like this isn't gonna. They have to pay the people making these games and stuff. It's not like it's
really
just
weird.
gonna happen. So I don't know.
Anyways, that was my 2 weird stories of the week. Aimless, woohoo!
Weird Japan attracts weird people. Huh. Go figure.
Oh, Japan, you so weird.
Cloud sky. I guess we can sign off until next week.
Yep. Good times. So check us out, aimlesspodcast.com. Also on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, iTunes, and Twitch. I'm just gonna plug this now. Like, the radio station faces death.
Oh no. Is it by Execution
Uh,
Squad? That'd be kind of
no, it's
awesome.
just like I, you know, just like the podcast, more people listen to the podcast during E3 than any other time in the year.
Mm.
So yeah, that's something's gonna be going on there in its possibly last month.
Oh no! If only we had more soundtracks and stuff. If only. I told you should have just did that. You guys should have did those aimless after dark things. You know, track some strange listeners there. You know, get that out there. But
It's
no.
like because it's international, it'd be like really awake people on the other side of the world listening to Aimless After Dark
I mean, it'd be after dark for
at
us.
9 in the
So.
morning.
There's like this is the kind of stuff they talk about in the morning. This is so inappropriate. It's like, nah, it's cool. It's only like 11 o'clock here, so it's okay. We can say bad words and talk about naughty things. So, kids don't listen to us. I hope. So,
Anything to add before we sign off, RPG?
um, keep listening, or eventually we will come from under the bed and get you. It's the only way to satiate the monster there is by listening to the podcast. Otherwise, gonna come and gobble you up in your sleep. So yeah, beware.
Alright, so yeah, like Tropical said, check us out wherever on the internet. And, enjoy it. Thanks for listening and stuff. And until next episode, will someone finish a game yet again next week? Will RPG continue to mix the podcast on a weekly basis?
Probably
Who
not.
knows? Find out on the next episode of Aimless Babble Z.